Hello and welcome to another episode of Gluttons for Geekdom Live. My name is Nick Vilpeck, or it could be a little bit Kevin Smithy, if you will. I'm in my Kevin Smith costume, if you will. It's not really a costume, because that would imply that I wear it at a specific time, but I just kind of look like this most of the day anyway. And today, if you haven't figured it out, we're going to be talking about Kevin Smith. Now, some of you don't consider him geeky enough, but considering he's the ultimate fanboy, and the name of the show is Gluttons for Geekdom, Geekdom really kind of surrounds anything that you would consider that you can fan in on, that you become a fanatic of. And since I am a Kevin Smith fanatic, that means I'm a geek and geekdom, and I want to talk about what I want to talk about. Kevin Smith, though, I'll just do a quick rundown of the three areas that I want to talk about. The first one is the Jersey Chronicles. It's the first 5 movies that he directed. Some say the best movies that he directed. Some are the only ones that some Kevin Smith fan even knows are out there. It started in 1994 with Clerks. It went on to Mallrats the year after in 95, Chasing Amy in 97, Dogma in 99, and Jay and Silent Bob in 2001. So produced the movie every 2 years out of that whole chronicle. And at the very end of Jay and Silent Bob, you have Alanis Morissette, who played God in Dogma. My favorite out of those 5, if I had to really do it, it'd be Dogma, Clerks, Rats, Chasing Jay and Silent Bob. And even, like, I have Jay and Bob at the bottom. Like, it's your favorite out of favorite movies. It's not like I don't like any of them. It's just I think that is how I like them. Sorry. So at the end, Alanis Morissette comes in, and it's the book of the View Askew-universe. Also, one of the greatest things, too. Somebody brought it up. I was watching one of the evening with Kevin Smith. It's like, he did it before. It was cool, not to call him the hipster, but he created his entire universe and had people crossing over, Best friend fucked a dead guy at the Quick Stop. So it's really awesome that those always did that. And it's something that continuity that I like, that I put into my own stuff that I like to do. And I just think that that's always funny to have a small little nod to another project that you've done in a project, if not a whole character. Now, after that, he did his first An Evening with Kevin Smith. That came out in 2002. And if you don't know what any of these are, because they go An Evening with Kevin Smith, An Evening with Kevin Smith 2, Evening Harder, sold out, a 3-evening with Kevin Smith. I know, the puns are great. And then it goes Kevin Smith, Too Fat for 40, and then Kevin Smith, Burn in Hell. Now, if anybody can comment and let me get an answer of why I can't buy Kevin Smith, Burn in Hell on DVD, that'd be great. But I have the first ones that I talked about. I watched, so I go straight through them. If I watch any of them, I just kind of binge on them. They're great. It's the most candid Kevin Smith. I think An Evening with Kevin Smith is the most famous because of the Superman story and then the Prince story. And of course, we just lost Prince. I say we because, he talked about it in Babylon too. We did lose something big there. We can talk as an entire being, as an entire species in losing Prince. Let's get back on topic. So then he went off. Now I break it up into a second chunk of movies, and that's Jersey Girl. I like it. I know it's not popular opinion. I like it. I think if you watch the last 5 minutes, it's freaking perfect because you have George Carlin, R.I.P. him too. Sorry. Damn. That's somebody I really wish I could have shaken his hand before he passed. I'll have to wait until I get on the other side, I guess. At the very end, it's him and his 2 buddies, her uncles, if you will. Those men are not your uncles. And, the one who's kind of played the dumber kind of guy or the slower, he goes, hey, your son's cutting a rug with that chick Maya. And George Carlin rolls his eyes, and the third friend goes to say something, and George Carlin, no. Even the sun shines on a dog's asshole once a day. Oh, you're getting a dog? That's a great joke, and it's dirty. And then at the end, it's Ben and, what's her name? Roxanne, I want to say something. Sorry, lady. They're dancing, and it's I love you, Daddy, and I love you too, Gertie. And it's really sweet at the end. So I like that movie. Then he goes to Clerks 2, kind of breaking of what he said in the View Askew universe, and then what he did to make himself smart. He goes, if you look where the bookmark was in that scene with Alanis Morissette, you'll see there was a pretty good amount of book left to go. So he calls it going back to the well to do Clerks 2. That's my favorite in this one, because the one after that is Zack and Miri Make a Porno. And these aren't like groupings that he set up. These are mine. It's the first 5, and then he did those 3. So Zack and Miri Make a Porno came out in 2008. So if you watch Too Fat for 40, which is the fourth one in his evenings, you'll hear him tell the story about Gretzky and where he now gets his famous line that he stole of "Don't go where the puck is, go where the puck is going." And he really much says, "I just tried to make a Judd Apatow film." Doesn't mean it's not funny, but you could tell, that it is. It's what would happen if Judd Apatow and Kevin Smith made a baby. So that movie is that. So I don't blame him for doing such. But when it came out, it only made $2.2 million on the opening Friday. If you extrapolate, it's $6 million. That's not really good. Blah blah. And that's when he also started becoming a wake and baker. And if you're current on Kevin Smith and his podcast and his works, weed has influenced a lot. You'd think watching the first 5 with Jay and Bob being pot sellers, no, he wasn't really smoking that much. But now he's all about that ganj. Cop Out is now an icebreaker for what I say. It separates the 3 pieces. Because after Cop Out came out, he didn't write or edit this movie, but he did direct it. It was his first studio film out like that. We all know the Bruce Willis story. If you do not know the Bruce Willis story, again, you can go on Too Fat for 40 and listen to his Bruce Willis story about they just didn't get along, and the movie did okay, but he just thought no, and that's when, in between Zack and Miri and Cop Out, and then before Red State came out, he started with all the podcasting. He does Smodcast with Scott Mosier, his producer on the first 5. He did Jersey Girl, probably Clerks too. I don't know if he did Zack and Miri. Comment down below. I need more comments. I need more people to talk to. Let's do this. Red State came out. Red State is fucking amazing. If you don't want to see any of these, go and watch Red State. Michael Parks is ridiculously amazing in that movie. John Goodman is amazing in that movie. Michael Aguilera, maybe, is amazing. Just everybody is so good. One of the best cast movies. And when I think of a horror film, this is what I consider horror. There's slashers and there's stuff. I'm not afraid of Jason Voorhees coming and picking me up out of bed. I'm afraid of a crazy Christian group with a bunch of guns on a compound, because that shit's real. I've read about that. Slashers, I don't know. That's just me. So this movie, it's not scary, but it's mentally just holy shit. And then if you, again, go back to the evening, the way it ends, I won't spoil it, but the way he wanted to end, I will spoil. One of the ways he could have gone, he talks about just having the main guy after he is executed. And again, that's not what happened, no spoilers. It's just a giant angel, and he goes, shh, and flies off and joins the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. That's dope. That's freaking awesome. But that's not what happens. Go ahead, go watch it. And Red State 2, let's give a shout out Malcolm Ingram for making, I just watched Small Town Gay Bar. And then I watched his Bear movie too. I like that guy. That guy's freaking, I like him. And he's the guy in the stories whenever you hear, he goes like this, and he's just Canadian, bah. And he's on a Kevin Smith group that I like, so I've been seeing a lot of posts of them too. I follow him on Instagram. It's gotten a little crazy. I'm like, oh, Malcolm Ingram, bah. Tusk was out after that. Now, Tusk, again, I'm not going to say I dislike any of these, because I like all of them. Tusk is a weirder one for me, and that was a weirder one to swallow at first. Because I think it's really, really scary until you see him in the suit, and then he switches gears and goes rubber monster. But at the same time, Justin Long at the very end with the tusks, and if you've seen it, you'll get it. If you haven't, I don't think there's enough time for me to explain this movie. But he's attacking Michael Parks as he is this walrus, and it's this awesome, great upshot, and it's just him fucked up nuts. So then it gets scary again, and then at the end it's really weird because Haley Joel Osment's in it. Oh, and the lady's name, she's in Yogo's, is the gym teacher, Genesis Rodriguez, I want to say. I'm hoping I'm right. They go to visit him, and spoilers, he's still in the suit, and he comes out and he eats a fish, and it's just fucking weird, and it's weird in a way that, I had to watch it more than once to really like it as much as I do, because again, performance-wise, there is that scene, Justin Long and Michael Parks going at it, and he's also, it's so good. And again, scary, because I don't believe in Freddy Krueger coming to get me, but spoilers, somebody coming and drugging my tea and then keeping me and cutting my fans and fins and making me, not a walrus, but still just operating on me without me wanting it. Scary. It's a scary notion. So there are parts of this where you can get a good heartbeat going, but it's still silly at points. And then to bring silly movie monster, rubber monster to its infinity, yoga hosers. is now on Blu-ray and everything. Awesome. Again, not a very popular opinion. Some people don't like it, but I love it. I think that the girls, he says it, and I was so prepared going into it because I am such a Kevin Smith whore. I listened to all of his podcasts, especially Hollywood Babylon. Now, if you've seen Yoga Hosers, you don't know Hollywood Babylon. Probably didn't get like 95% of the jokes. That's a high number, but shit, it's a lot. But Ralph Garman is the guy at the end, the guy in shit, what was it? His Canadian subterranean lair, and I actually tweeted Kevin Smith, and since Kevin Smith's on it so much, I said, Kevin, would you mind if I called this what you're looking at right now, pretty much? Is it stealing if it's called my Pennsylvanian subterranean? And he liked it, so I am going to start calling it that. Garmin is in the movie, and he's fantastic in it. But I knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he said this from the beginning. This is the movie I would have made when I was a 14-year-old girl. So going into it with that knowledge, and especially the other thing he says is that my movies always find their level, like water always finds level. Eventually there will be this girl searching through Netflix, 12 years old, Saturday morning, finds this and isn't getting all the jokes, but of the freaking kicking of the Bratzies and the goalie golem at the end. It's going to be so weird, and it's going to blow her mind, and that'll be the movie for the rest of her life, that she's like, can somebody sit down and try to watch this with me? It's like, if you don't know Kevin Smith and you try to initiate somebody to Kevin Smith and you put on Yoga Hosers, you're probably not going to grab them that great. The first one, if you had to really introduce them, commercially wise, just sit down and try to watch this. I think it would be Dogma, and that's only because religion is already a hot topic kind of thing. It's already a buzzer for so many people that gets them into a debate or a conversation. Chasing Amy, because Clerks is great, but automatically when you're talking about a jizz mopper, you're gonna lose so many people. The second nudie booth happens, you're losing. And then of course the infamous 37, you're gonna lose probably a few amount of females, like just right off the bat with those two things, and some uptight man like Walt Flanagan, if you don't know. Comic Book Men, AMC, Comic Book Men. Walt Flanagan plays the guy who's using dirty language in front of the public. You should be ashamed of yourself. And Randall's all cool, and he's like, if you think that's obscene, check this out, and holds up a Playboy or whatever have you. And, that's Walter frickin' Flanagan. He's got a lot of roles in that movie because some people didn't show up. So if you go through, Walt Flanagan's a lot in that. And then, of course, you get the famous "Tell him, Steve Dave" line. Is that in that one, or did that not come out to Mallrats? No, that must have been Mallrats. I might have misspoke. Oh, man, somebody's going to yell at me on the internet, I'm sure. But Brian's in it as well, Brian Johnson. But anyway, I wanted to bring up Tell him, Steve Dave. That's why I was trying to go with that. Podcast is one of the only ones on the Smodcast network that doesn't involve Kevin. Not like one of the only ones. There are a few, but that's one of the only ones I listen to. Sorry. I like comics. I mean, I do. Mike Zapsik and Ming Chen. That's a good one, too. But not really. But let's talk through those. So there's Smodcast. Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. Hollywood Babylon. Edumacation. Blowhards. Oh, listen to Blowhards, too. That's, again, one. But that has Jay and Malcolm Ingram again. It's another reason why I'm just starting to like that dude. I just like listening to him. Bah. All of it's so good. I noticed that, I've been trying to keep these 10 minutes. I don't have a timer going because my microwave isn't really giving me the time right now. I'm really positive it's been more than 10 minutes. So I'm going to shut down. Comments underneath on this, please. That would be great. So I can keep going and I'll know what to talk about next time. The big man. Not like the big man anymore. He's lost a fuck ton of weight. Comes up. So at least this way I have a bit more of a direction. If you want to know anything about any of the movies I told you, comment underneath. If not, go for Gluttons for Geekdom on Facebook. Usually I like to end with a witty line or anything, but, Kevin Smith's big thing is just being silent, so